What do all these swings have in common? I'm going to go over several different swings. I'm not saying it's exact. I don't even like go totally in depth in studying everybody's swings, but I have a general idea of, let's say, Ben Hogan. Jack Nicklaus. Oh, he's got this. So he's got more of that. In between those two swings, Tiger Woods. The other one is Adam Scott. So it's not as flat and not as steep. So let me show you from this angle. So Hogan-esque type of swing. Ben Hogan did more of like a shallower swing. Jack Nicklaus is more, he actually kind of went this way a little bit and then looped it that way and then came back down. Tiger Woods is more of in the middle. It's more of a neutral, and Adam Scott, more of a neutral swing. Not high over his head like Bubba Watson, and not shallow like Ben Hogan. So he's kind of there. And not, I mean, at some point he kind of tried laying it off a little bit, less this way, but laying it off, more like Ricky Fowler. And then there's other swings within that category, like a Jim Furyk type of swing. So from what I recall, he took it outside and then kind of like looped it around like this. And then there's the long hitters. They have more of, this is the part I'm like, forget the towel drill. Because whenever anybody says they've done it, I haven't seen really good results other than like a pro doing it, because they have already the coordination. So if you're learning foundation and foundational stuff, I don't really recommend it. But here's an example. Kyle Berkshire and some other long hitters, they definitely have a huge gap right here to get that width and arc. And so if they're over here, he starts off sometimes, I guess, like this, and then he goes like that. But I want to be careful I don't break anything. So he goes here, 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 and up here, actually. So let's do that again. So he goes here. Okay, so you see how high and how much space there is between his right arm, elbow, and his side. And they have a wider stance. So if they do a driver, it's very wide. So it's like that, boom, boom. Okay, and then there's Severiano Ballesteros. Gosh, I love his swing. It's kind of in between Adam Scott, Tiger Woods, which is more, even more precision, more, little more robotic, modern. And Severiano Ballesteros, had more of like a Hogan-esque, Ben Hogan, Bobby Jones sort of stuff, but also it was modern and well-rounded. It just looked really like, it was so fluid. And it was like in between everybody's swing, like Freddie Couples, it's got that fluidity. Speaking of like art and creativity, He had all these creative shots around the greens. He was an artist on the golf course. So he could shape things around. You don't see as many golfers shaping things as much as the golfers back then did, it seems like. And then there's women golfers, Nelly Korda, beautiful swing. And then Brooke Henderson, which is more of a longer swing like this. She does that sort of thing. So yeah, there's got, and Sergio Garcia and Ricky Fowler, they have more of that lag type look. So it's like here, here, and then you can go that sort of thing. Oh, and you know what? I'll do one more. Moe Norman. So he was arguably one of the best ball strikers and most accurate. So he has what they would call like a one plane swing. For me, when I look at a golf swing, I don't look at it as one plane, two plane, three plane. It's multiple planes. However, they'll describe it more like a one plane swing. The way I can accomplish it is if I do more of a split-handed grip, a baseball grip, because it's got all the elements, but it's a little more rigid. And then he comes through, and he goes through, and then he does this sort of thing. And then Arnold Palmer, where Arnold Palmer and Jim Furyk and those kind of players kind of trip everybody up, all the amateur golfers, because they'll use it as a crutch to go, you know what, you can swing any which way, and it's fine. And you can. Actually, I don't really care how you swing. It's just if you want to get better or you want to hit the ball better, and if you're frustrated, you could hit 1,000 on a golf course, and I don't really care. I mean, keep up the pace, of course, but that's your thing. But if you want to improve, these are the things that people get stuck. Like they'll watch a golf tournament, and then as they're learning the fundamentals, or if they're not, they'll watch a golf tournament, they're like, oh, they swing any which way they want. Look at, you know, they'll look at old footages of Arnold Palmer. It's like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what the technique is, right? So if they're seeing Jim Furyk and it's out here and he loops it around and he comes through, or they'll see an old footage of Arnold Palmer and, you know, let's say he does his swing and he comes through, he goes like this, you know, he finishes more abruptly and around. And so it seems like you can do anything you want, and you can, especially if you have natural golf ability and coordination. Then you can do different things and it'll sort of work out for you. However, even those players, I've worked with a lot of scratch golfers that want to not only maintain their game because it's like sliding, their game is sliding down, or they want to continue to sharpen their swing and game. And so you can't just lean on, well, everybody's doing everything, so it doesn't matter, and just rest on only your natural ability. There are techniques that you can brush up on, fine-tune, and can take you to many levels. It's really exciting. Often, no matter what age, it can happen with younger kids, like the teenage boys, where they'll try different swings, which is great. I think it's fun, they do different things. But the ones that get stuck on constantly shifting are only shifting styles. It's kind of like walking. Everyone walks pretty much the same, but everyone's style of walking is different. And that's what I'm getting at is, while I'm teaching the fundamentals, it's easy for people to get distracted when they go watch the pros. A kid would come to a lesson, if Bubba Watson won a tournament, I want to swing like Bubba Watson. And then next week, if Ricky Fowler won a tournament, I want to swing like Ricky Fowler. And they have two different elements of a swing plane. So this is, I mean, this is one example, but there's so many, but this is something that's more obvious for you to see. Bubba Watson is up here over his head. Ricky Fowler's over here. You know, that sort of shallowness. And I'm pretty sure he's trying to actually elevate it. I think it would be a great idea, because when you have a swing plane that's laid off and shallow, you do want to try to get it more neutral. And then within the elements of all these different swings, certainly there are swings that are more fundamental than others. They're more precise, more reliable, leaning more towards neutral. And it's a beautiful thing because it's so versatile. You can do so many different shapes with more of a neutral swing. So if you get too shallow or too upright, you can only gravitate towards certain types of shots and swings. And then if you have a loop in your swing so you can repeat it, great. If I were to just compare swings, there are swings that are more fundamental than others. There are many elements of why all those different swings are similar, but today I'm going to just talk about one element, which is weight shift. And every one of them have some percentage of their weight on the right side, and it's more of a dominant percentage. So some may have 80-20, some may have 60-40, but it's more dominant on their right side. So what that allows is then the weight shift going through. So the commonality of all these swings is, let's just do sort of a neutral position. Okay, the weight is more on my right, and then when I come through, it transitions to the left. That's the commonality. So no matter if they have an upright swing, flat swing, a loop in their swing, that commonality is there. So a lot of times people are like, oh, it doesn't matter what technique, it's the fundamentals that's what matters. Because if you chase after everyone's style, then you're only getting distracted with the trend. It's like clothing. You're just getting distracted with the clothing of that style, of that person's style. So you're copying that. But it's what you eat and how you take care of your body and the nutrition and stuff is the underlying fundamental. So those are the things that I'm teaching. I don't even want my students to try to swing like me. They just end up having. I actually told the kid, many people and kids, but I'm just giving you this example since it's extreme, Bubba Watson and Ricky Fowler, is that I'm like, go ahead, have fun, you know, try different swings. But don't get stuck on trying to swing like one, because if somebody else wins the next tournament and you want to swing like that person, you're missing the point of learning the fundamentals. So it's just like art. As I'm learning, and I'm learning very quickly because I'm doing what I teach others, is I was just trying to figure out before, what are the fundamentals to watercolor? You know, you mix it with water and then you put it on the paper. Okay, I'm going to try that. But I stayed away from trying to completely copy somebody's artwork because I wanted my own style to just shine through as I do practice the fundamental things. And so there's certain things that I wanted to create. I'm like, I love leaves. So I got the fundamental stuff, how to use water and paint, and then how it gets on the paper. But then I started creating my own type of leaves. And a lot of what I do is opposite of what you're going to learn, because if you keep copying everybody's style, then all the artwork starts to look similar. And it's okay. I think that's great too. However, if you want to just be creative and allow your own style to come through, then yeah, just get the fundamentals down. So I'm always teaching students the fundamentals. The cool thing is, as they learn the fundamentals, their swing becomes more and more put together and coordinated, athletic, powerful, accurate, precise, and they end up having more feel. And what the commonality is, so many times a student would go, I played with some stranger, and they go, are you taking lessons from Jun? And they were like, yeah, how'd you know? And people started detecting that something about their swing looked more fluid. And it really ends up looking more beautiful. I really think that if you keep on the fundamental path, the swing just becomes not only more powerful and create more accurate shots and feel, but it ends up looking more and more put together and more beautiful. When somebody wants to take it to another level or feel frustrated or not improving, then yeah, you want to get the fundamentals down. And then it gets more and more like put together. The better golfers have that commonality, that weight shift, right and shifting over to the left with any sport. Majority of the golfers are doing the opposite. So no matter where their arms are, they're on this part of the body, and then, so when they're on this part of the body, and then when they come through, they're on this part of the body. So it's the opposite. That's why I'm very careful. I don't go, you know what, this is gonna fix everything, just work on your weight shift. It doesn't work like that. You have to work on getting the right setup, hand position, your arm position, and things like that. At least you have a general idea that that's a big element. It doesn't matter whose swing you copy. It's gonna, if you're here, you can't even copy them. Isn't that funny? Like, you think you're doing whoever's swing. Let's say you go, I want Adam Scott's swing. You think you're doing it, but if your weight shift is opposite, you can try to do Adam Scott's swing all day long. It just won't happen. So you're just wasting time and energy. When you watch a tournament, whoever has won the tournament, I would love for that to be a motivation. Go, wow, look at that swing, that's beautiful. I want to swing like that. But then understand you've got to do some of the fundamental things. Wherever you are in your swing, I'd like you to just learn to not lean this way, to stay a little more aligned on your right side. And then let it fire through and then go this way. Again, there are other elements, and if you want to learn them, you can become a member at junsgolf.com, the one swing. And then I break down and do swings where you can actually understand what this is. I hope you go away with admiring everybody's different styles, but understand the difference between style and fundamentals. So instead of immediately trying to copy somebody's style, seek out the right information, do the right fundamental things, and then your own style will shine through. All right, take care. Peace.